Hello there. Well, today we're going to be doing a report on the Iceman, and this is on Bush News.
Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're going to do a little discussion, some information from an expert here, and I just want to know exactly what can you tell me about Uzi, Floozy, or...
Otzi?
Yeah, yes, that's it. Yes, correct, yes. I knew that. I was just wondering if you could elaborate more on who he was, what time he lived in, all that sort of stuff. If you could just clarify for the audience, that'd be great, if you could just enlighten us.
Well, he's around 5,000 years old, and he was living in the Copper Ages, and he was a hunter-gatherer, and he was actually mostly a farmer, because he came from a farming family, and he made copper blades, and he lived in a smoky dwelling, which, of course, is from the copper blades, and he lived near fields, which he had barley corns in his jacket. So that's how we know that.
Now, when you say like a smoky environment, like are you saying like at a bar, like a bar that was people were smoking, like cigars, or is it like something different?
Well, he was making a copper axe, like I said, and it was very smoky while making a copper axe, and of course, near those times, they didn't really have bars and things like that.
Okay, thank you for clearing that up. Now I'm just wondering whereabouts, like when you say he lived that long ago, now what kind of climate did he live in? Like was it a warm tropical beach, or like what was his day-to-day life, do you think? Like what was Uzi Fuzi's life all about?
Otzi?
Yes, that's it.
Well, he lived in a rather warm environment where he was in his village, and generally he would travel along the Alps to trade and go to different villages.
Okay. So it was kind of good climate at home, but bad climate on the road kind of thing? Like.
Yeah, kind of. At that time, at least, they didn't really have roads.
Right. Okay, yeah. So do you think that living back then was more harsh times? Like what kind of clothing and stuff was he wearing? Like t-shirts, shorts, sandals? Like what's the deal?
Well, most of the times they would rather wear loincloths, like our great little guy right here. And other times they would have fur coats from animal fur and things like that. So generally wool from animals and fur and hide to make warm clothing.
Right. All right. Oh, okay, that's awesome. Now, since we're talking about a mummy, which is weird because he's a guy, but what I'm kind of thinking is, can you just tell me possibly what might have happened to him? Like, was he old or was he young? How do you think it transpired that he was, what's the word I'm looking for? Dead.
Well, quite a wonderful word there, but the way he, let's say, died, well, he was probably going to trade to a different village, so he was going up the mountains. And on the way, we suspected that he was shot with an arrow on the back shoulder by someone he was known. And he already had wounds on his hand, which were healed before that happened. And he was probably picking berries near the forest going up the mountain, because we know that because he had berries in his stomach and barley corns in his jacket, which means he was near his village at first. So he was going uphill, and we are suspected that he fell a few times or got hit or hurt by something, because several rib bones were broken in his body. So then after he got shot in the back by the shoulder, hitting a artery, he, let's say, pretty much bled out and fell on the ground and collapsed.
So you kind of think that maybe it was his last few days where he kind of left home to go travel, trade, or find food sources or whatnot, and he just had a bad day and ran into some people, and that was about that? Or do you think that he was a peaceful person? Or do you think that he was a good person? Or do you think it was, maybe up to no good? What do you kind of think of his last few days? What do you think he might have been up to?
Well, I'm pretty sure he was just trading, being peaceful, being a good person, and somebody he knew must have not really had a good time with him and decided to just kind of come by and walking version of drive by him with a bow and arrow.
That's an interesting way to put it. But so all in all, how do you feel about this Iceman? Do you feel that he's important to science and discovering ways of our past? Or do you feel that there's bigger things that should be figured out, like why Donald Trump is orange?
Well, that's another thing we can do, but really, we think that he is important. Not important. I mean, important. But I think that he is rather important to our discovering our past and scientific studies and getting better at things like that.
Well, that's very awesome, man. I want to thank you for your time today, and hopefully we can get you back on some another hot topic issues in the future. So thank you so very much for your time.
So, well, the Iceman was going up the mountains.
When do you get paid?
Really? You're gonna ask that now?
Well, I just want to know when we get paid.
Well, can you ask that later?
No. I just want to know.
Oh, okay, everybody get out. Everybody out. Out. Out.
All right, guys, leave the building.
out.
Let's go. Let's get out of here.
Hey, no, you stay here.
Huh?
You stay
What?
here. You stay.
Why do I got to
Jeff,
stay?
where are you going?
Nope.
Hey, Jeff, no. No,
Oh,
Jeff.
man. Okay, we're on in 5.
Wait, what? What do you mean? 5 what?
5 seconds. 5 seconds.
Wait, what do you...
We're
What?
4 seconds now. 3.
What?
What? No, you can't just walk. Oh, come on.
Tim. Hurry up.